My name is Alexandra Mohnhaupt Quintana. I'm 21 years old and I'm a former professional racing driver, and I'm from Mexico. I got into racing very young. I was 9 years old. When I jumped into the kart, they couldn't stop me after it. I was very slow at the beginning. They outlapped me for like 3 laps, but then I became better and better until I was the best in my championship. Went into the nationals. I won it 5 times, and then I also went to 2 world championships, one in Portugal and the other one in the US. And yeah, then I entered the Formula 4 championship in Mexico, and my dad created a team for me. My dad used to race when he was little. There were a lot of people thinking that I was doing it because of my dad and that he was pushing me, but it wasn't like that. It was just the right connection. My mom doesn't really like cars and she didn't like me racing, but she supported me 100%. My little sister, I have 3 sisters. My little one, she's my #1 fan. She went to every race. She was screaming for me. Even if I was in the back, she was screaming for me as if I was winning. My mom was like my manager. My dad was every race there. And when I won, my dad was over the moon. My little sister, she was crying. So it was very nice to see us together. I got a lot of attention when I was racing. Since I started in a very young age, you can't tell a little kid why there's a difference and why people are looking at you. So for me at the beginning it was easier because as a kid you're only focused on what makes you happy and what's good for you, no? But then when I started growing and started to go into like greater championships and with less women, then the attention was different. I had it in both ways, so there was good attention and also bad attention. The bad ones, I also received them even from the parents of the other drivers, like, how can a woman beat you? And I was like, I'm just another driver. I have the same goal. I want to win, and it's the same. Once we put our helmets on, it's the same goal for everyone. And the good attention was because once I got my helmet on and I was racing, I was beating them. So when I took my helmet off, they were surprised that it was me, it was a woman. So they were very happy, a lot of them. I was about 15. I was 15 years old when I started in Formula 4. The car is basically a Formula 1, but a little one, and it doesn't have aerodynamics, and it's like the first step after go-karting to enter into the Formula world and to get to Formula 1. For me to get to that level, it took me quite a lot of time because I came from a mindset that I won 5 times the national championship in karting. I'm very good, and then it hit me. No, I came into the car and it was very different. I was the type of driver that is very like analytical. I always try to see what the other drivers did when we were racing, so I could take advantage of a mistake. And also, I was very calm. When I was about to jump into the car, you could see the calm in me and the peace inside of me. But I also could be very mad if something happened in the track, but I think it's just everybody has it. It's the adrenaline talking, but you have to learn from that and to stay calm and yeah, to be prepared. I always wanted to transmit that, like the motivational part, and to empower women especially, because I was the only one racing, so I wanted to people to look up to me, especially women, to not let stereotypes get into their way, and breaking this barrier of like, oh, you're a woman, you can't be in this like motorsport world. And my first race I won, it was in my hometown in Puebla. So when I won my first race, it was huge. And then in front of all the people that supported me and in front of all my family, it was a very big win for me. So I was the first woman worldwide to win an FIA Formula 4 race. So I made my point into the history books. So yeah, I got a lot of attention about the championship by itself, then media. Yeah, it was huge. I was competing for the championship when I was 18 years old, so it was in 2018. I was competing for the Formula 4, the Mexican Formula 4 championship. It was a very hard championship. It started very good for me. I was leading it, and then it all changed around it, and then I was leading it again. So it was a lot of hard work behind it, and a lot of uncertainty, because I was sure this was going to go until the last round. And at the same time, I was moving to Europe, because I was starting a new chapter in my racing life. I was starting to race in Formula 3. I was in contact with some teams here. I had my coach driver, he's Irish, so he had very good contacts. He also was a very good driver. He still is. And yeah, I was starting to move here to start this Formula 3 championship, the British F3. And then yeah, everything changed. In one testing in Formula 3 in Spa, I had a huge crash that it stopped completely the way I saw my life at that moment, what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be, and how I was enjoying everything I was doing. Final testing of the day, my coach driver came only for the final testing of the day. It was the first time my dad wasn't around, so I was completely alone with a new team. So everything, I think, came together. No, but it was very good. I was improving. It was in Spa, so in the main part, in the main corner, the famous one uphill from Rouge and Radillon. And I just lost the car and I went into the wall at 250k. So it was a huge crash. I remember how it happened, but then I remembered open my eyes, I lost my vision, so I wasn't able to see my injuries, if it was bad, if it was okay. I had a lot of pain in my legs and also in my ribs, so it was just like the compression of the car. And then I couldn't see my injuries, so when the people came to help me, like the marshals, they were very agitated, so I was very scared because I didn't know what was happening. And then I fainted, and when I woke up again, I was out of the car and laying down on the track and waiting for the ambulance to come. I had some broken ribs. Nothing happened to my legs. I just, like, my back was a little bit shattered, and then also in my head I had an edema, but all of this, they didn't pick it up in Belgium when I crashed. So I felt very, very bad after a week after the crash, so I had to fly back to Mexico because I didn't want to stay in Europe anymore. And when I flew back, they checked me completely and they picked up all these things. So I had to stay at the hospital and recover, and then it was a very long recovery for me to feel completely like good. This crash basically stopped my racing career, and after that I left also the Formula 4 championship. I didn't fight for it, and I left completely the motorsport world. A lot of people supported me on my social media when they follow my races, but once I stopped racing, I got a lot of bad attention and a lot of bad comments on the video I uploaded that I was quitting racing. At that time, it was half of my life. I did it. So leaving a sport that I did with a lot of passion, with a lot of dedication, that I also gave up a lot of things for it, it's hard to leave it. It's hard even to leave it at a very young age, to take a huge decision like that. For me, it was the time where I was not sick of it, but I just wanted a break, because it was a lot. I put a lot of pressure into myself. So it was, I think, everything coming together, and the crash just was like the tip of the iceberg. A lot of people said, oh, you left it, it's not your passion, it's not what you want to do. It is, it's still my passion, it's still what makes me happy, but it's just I needed a break of it, because it's something that makes you happy, and if you have a lot of it or a lot of other things coming into it, it can break you and you can hate it. And that happened to me. Feeling guilty also, because there was a huge team behind me, and I felt guilty because they all lost their job inside the racing world. So for me it was feeling this guilt and then having this anxiety, and I didn't really focus on myself. I was just thinking about the others, how like the others felt, what happened, and not what I really wanted. I started studying, it was good, but then you don't really know how to deal with this. Like, people can't tell you how to deal with it. All of this I had to deal with myself alone also, because I didn't want to bring people inside of it to not hurt them, because I'm that kind of person that I always thought about the others instead of thinking about me. It got me thinking that I was doing it at the end and thinking about other things, the followers, what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, instead of really enjoying it. Instead of really enjoying what, as a kid, as a 9-year-old, like how I was doing it. Just be happy and race and do my passion. Because there's a lot of things involved when you start growing. You start seeing other roads, and it's hard. It's hard, but it's even harder if you don't face it. I woke up a lot of times thinking, oh, I'm great now. I feel good, it's going to be a good day, and it was. But then after a week, you go back to the same like way you were before. So it wasn't like one day I just woke up and said, today I want to feel good and I want to change it. Like it went to a point that physically it hurt. So I didn't want to feel that anymore. So I was like, no, you change it now or it will ruin your life. And I had to do it. For me, it was talking about it and realizing that I had a problem. And yeah, anxiety and depression is an illness. So a lot of people don't see it as an illness, but it is. I think a lot of people don't talk about anxiety and depression because I think society thinks you're weak if you have it. No, so I think it's not. And if you manage to pull yourself out of it, you're even stronger than all other people. So for me, it was a trauma. It was a trauma because of the crash, being alone, not knowing if I would get back my vision at the time. Then coming back to Mexico and having all these bad comments that I was quitting racing, that it was because of money, because I think people didn't understand it, no? Then having this pressure on myself that a lot of people lost their jobs, no? So I had to deal with a lot of things. And this anxiety, I think it's very important to talk about, and depression also, because it can break you hard. And I had some days that I didn't even want to go out of bed, where people, I think my family and friends could say, but you were perfect, but inside you don't feel good. And it's like mentally, you can be surrounded by people and feel great, but then go back home and feel like the worst person in the world, no? And you have to deal with it. And it's important to deal with it because it can ruin everything. Your relationships, yourself, what you do, like how you deal with other stuff, no? For me was now university, but it's everything. It can ruin you in many different ways. So I had also people who knew and who helped me, and it helped me to talk about it. And yeah, talking about it, it's the best thing I could do, because you can think you have it, but if you don't talk about it or if you don't do something, then it's still there. Once you talk about it, you realize, okay, I have this problem. I have to work for it. Or once other people tell you like, you really have to, like, it's breaking a relationship or it's breaking this or that, you have to deal with it. And you realize, okay, I don't want to lose more things because of it, I have to work for it. And that's just, it took me a long time to get to that point, to realizing it, that I really had to work for it. And it was a very, very dark time for me, like an alone time. But I managed to go through it and to find myself in other ways. And now talking about it, for me, it's not bad. I can talk about it. I feel good talking about it. And I think a lot of people should too, because it's important. And if you don't do it, as I said, it can ruin yourself. People are still like looking for me because of what I did, and they're still reaching out. I did good things that impacted people. I helped them in the way that they thought everything is possible if they set their mind to it. Even like little kids. A mom sent me a video of her kid. She was presenting me in a class in Mexico. So yeah, they asked her to present like a motivational person for her, and she presented me. So that's something you don't realize, and this time gave me the opportunity to realize the impact I had in other people's lives, and in my life and my family's life. So yeah, it helped me also grow as a person, be more independent, be away from my family. So I'm now in a good position where I can think clearly by myself and take decisions that have an impact on my own life. I'm not really sure yet of what my next objectives are. I'm graduating now from university. In all my life, I took decisions very fast because I had to do it. So now I want to take the time of really know what I want to do. Taking this decision at this time, it could help me like grow a lot. But this racing thing is the one thing that the window of opportunity is closing every single year. So it's the one that is pushing me to like see if I can come back. I really miss it because after 3 years, it happened 3 years ago, like I'm still passionate about it. I watch the races and I get goosebumps. So it's just about the thinking that, okay, you can still do it, but you have to do it right. And what's right for you, not right for the other people. And what you want to do for yourself and how you want to feel. You want to feel happy and passionate about what you do and feel this adrenaline inside of you, and not think about the followers, media, and just do what makes you happy.